Prince Harry's name has been mentioned in court documents related to allegations. Sean "Diddy" Combs said a $30 million lawsuit brought by record producer Rodney Jones claims Diddy's affiliation with high-profile people such as Prince Harry gave his actions legitimacy.
So there's quite a stir happening involving Sean "Diddy" Combs, who's caught up in a $30 million lawsuit.
Have been raided by authorities in relation to the allegations. Mr. Jones' lawyers argued guests attended sex trafficking parties because of his access to high-level celebrities.
It was a build-up of frustration, I think, on his part. It was at a time where he was being told certain things by people within his office.
One interesting aspect of this whole ordeal is that Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, has been brought into the mix. The lawsuit mentions him in connection with Combs' alleged VIP party scene, alongside other big names like famous athletes, politicians, artists, and musicians. Now it's worth noting that there's absolutely no implication of any wrongdoing on Prince Harry's part. His name simply pops up as an example of the high-profile crowd that Combs is said to rub shoulders with.
And he had a few issues which were based not on reality.
In fact, there's a bit of history between Combs and the British royals. Back in 2007, both Prince Harry and his brother Prince William were spotted hanging out with Combs and Kanye West after a gig at Wembley Stadium.
He was saying, I was defending myself, and we moved from one room into the kitchen, and his frustrations were growing and growing and growing. He was shouting at me, I was shouting back at him.
Prince Harry being named in connection to Diddy would not be the royal family's first brush with controversy. The British royal family, despite their polished image, has had its fair share of scandals over the years. One of the most memorable controversies occurred in 1992, when King Charles III and Princess Diana announced their separation after a decade of marriage. Both Charles and Diana, parents to Princes William and Harry, openly admitted to having extramarital affairs during this tumultuous time. Diana famously remarked during a BBC interview in November 1995, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded," alluding to Charles's relationship with his now wife, Queen Camilla. Less than a year later, Charles and Diana finalized their divorce. In the 1930s, King Edward VIII shook the monarchy when he proposed to American divorcee Wallis Simpson. Faced with opposition from the government and realizing he couldn't marry Simpson and remain king, Edward chose to abdicate the throne, paving the way for his younger brother George VI to become king. Princess Margaret, Queen Elizabeth II's younger sister, faced her own scandal when she fell in love with the divorced Peter Townsend, who was deemed unsuitable for marriage by both the Church of England and the government. Despite Townsend's proposal, Margaret chose her royal duties over love, eventually marrying Anthony Armstrong Jones in 1960. In 1974, Princess Anne experienced a terrifying ordeal when her vehicle was overtaken by Ian Ball, who attempted to kidnap her at gunpoint. Although Anne managed to escape, one of her bodyguards was shot in the chaos. Ball, who had a history of mental illness, was apprehended and sentenced to life in a psychiatric facility for attempted murder and kidnapping. Back in 1981, Prince Charles tied the knot with Princess Diana amidst much fanfare. However, their marital journey took a sharp twist. Diana confided in recordings that she was deeply in love with someone within the palace, while Charles rekindled his romance with his former flame, Camilla. The cracks became evident, leading to their official separation in 1992. Despite their divorce being finalized in August 1996, tragedy struck when Diana passed away in a car crash in Paris at the young age of 36. Charles later married Camilla in 2005, marking a significant chapter in royal history. Now, shifting gears to Prince Harry, known for his adventurous spirit. Before settling down with Meghan Markle in 2018, he had his fair share of controversies. In 2005, Harry found himself in hot water after photos surfaced of him wearing a swastika armband at a party, prompting a public apology for his choice of costume. The drama continued 7 years later when scandalous images from his Las Vegas escapade emerged, reportedly taken during a game of strip billiards. The palace took action, reaching out to the Press Complaints Commission to prevent the snapshots from circulating in British tabloids. Meanwhile, Princess Anne faced a legal ordeal of her own in 2002 when her dog attacked 2 children. Pleading guilty to the offense, she was slapped with a fine and ordered to compensate the victims, marking a rare instance of a senior royal appearing in court. Prince Charles found himself in the spotlight once again, this time for a candid moment captured at a Swiss ski resort in 2005. Expressing frustration over a reporter's question about his impending wedding to Camilla, he was overheard making unflattering remarks, showcasing the occasional strains of royal life. Princess Michael of Kent stirred controversy with her fashion choices. At the Queen's Christmas lunch in 2017, she wore a brooch that some perceived as a slight toward Meghan, the first biracial royal. While the princess expressed regret for any offense caused, it wasn't the first time she faced accusations of racial insensitivity, having allegedly made derogatory remarks towards a group of black diners in New York City in 2004. Despite apologizing, the incidents left a mark on her reputation. Then there's also the fact that Prince Harry married someone the royal family did not want him to. You wouldn't believe the irony. A couple of silver-haired broadcasters in Britain couldn't contain their venom when talking about Meghan Markle's podcast, Archetypes, coming to an end. But here's the kicker. They clearly had no clue about what the show was actually about. It's like they hadn't even bothered to give it a listen. Instead of being genuine journalists, they seemed more interested in gloating over its cancellation. It was pretty obvious they were relishing Meghan's setback after Spotify decided not to renew the series for another season. These 2 old-timers didn't even try to hide their disdain for Meghan. It was practically dripping from every word they said. They clearly had it out for her. Now, if they had bothered to do a little research, they'd know that Archetypes was all about celebrating strong, ambitious women who've overcome obstacles thrown at them by, well, guys like them. Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, had some powerhouse interviews on there, like with Serena Williams and Mariah Carey, discussing how they broke through sexism and stereotypes in their careers. Maybe these broadcasters felt emboldened to let their disdain show because of some poll from 2023 that apparently showed a dramatic drop in Harry and Meghan's popularity in the UK. Meghan's approval rating plummeted to just 23%, while Harry's wasn't much better at 29%. Compare that to the late Queen Elizabeth, who's still pulling an impressive 80%. For us Americans, it's a bit hard to wrap our heads around why Brits seem to dislike Meghan and Harry so intensely, and frankly a bit irrationally. But if you want some context, here are 5 reasons that might shed some light on the matter. You know, there's this saying in spirituality that goes, "I am never upset for the reason I think." It's kind of profound when you think about it. You know those little things that just set us off, like a barking dog, someone cutting us off on the freeway, or even our spouse leaving a towel on the bathroom floor? Well, they're not really what's making us tick. It's always something deeper, lurking beneath the surface of our frustration. And speaking of frustration, let's talk Brexit. It's been a wild ride for the Brits these past 3 years. You look at the mess since they decided to part ways with the European Union, and you can't help but see Harry and Meghan caught in the crossfire as scapegoats. The economic fallout has been rough. Britain's growth rate has hit rock bottom among the G7 countries. Trade's taken a nosedive. And investments in the UK? Well, let's just say they're not exactly booming. They're the only big economy out there that's actually expected to shrink this year. Now, sure, it was a bit of a letdown when Harry and Meghan decided to ditch their royal duties and set up shop in sunny Montecito, California. But did it really warrant all the hostility they got? It's like people were using them as a punching bag to take out their frustrations about Brexit. Let's talk nationalism for a sec. You've got experts saying it was a major driving force behind Brexit. Some folks in the UK, feeling threatened by change and newcomers, decided to cling to this idea of a simpler, better past. It's like they were looking through rose-tinted glasses to a time that probably never existed. And hey, Americans fell for a similar tune with Trump's whole Make America Great Again spiel. It sounded all patriotic on the surface, but really, it was tinged with some pretty nasty undertones. People bought into this idea of putting America first without really understanding the bigger picture. For some Brits, it was about protecting their culture and traditions from what they saw as a threat from the larger European community. Meghan, with her biracial background and Hollywood roots, kind of embodied that fear for a lot of folks. She was seen as this outsider shaking up the status quo, while Kate Middleton, the homegrown royal, got all the love. It's a messy situation, no doubt about it. So picture this. You're standing in line at the grocery store, right? You glance over at those tabloids with all the juicy celebrity gossip, only to notice they're not exactly flying off the shelves like they used to. Nope. Nowadays, it seems like it's mostly the older crowd reaching for those glossy pages. And what do you see plastered on the covers? Well, stars who've been gone for ages, like Mickey Rooney, Elizabeth Taylor, Rock Hudson, and Michael Landon. Talk about a blast from the past. But across the pond in Britain, it's a whole different story. Those tabloids are still going strong, my friend. They wield some serious power and can really shape public opinion. Just take Meghan Markle, for example. Those British tabloids have been relentless in their treatment of her, painting her in a not-so-flattering light. British TV host. Last year, he penned a column for one of those tabloids where he straight up declared his hatred for Meghan on a cellular level. Yeah, you heard that right. He went on to brag about despising her more than a serial killer and even had dreams about people throwing stuff at her on the street. Talk about intense! See, these tabloid writers had big plans to keep dishing out stories trashing Meghan and Harry for years to come. They had this whole narrative going where Meghan was the villain and Kate was the angel, and readers couldn't get enough of it. But then, Harry and Meghan dropped a bombshell and decided to step back from royal life. Suddenly, those journalists were left scratching their heads, wondering how to make Camilla and Charles seem interesting enough to fill the void. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about diversity, or the lack thereof, in British journalism. According to a report from 2016, a whopping 6% of folks working in UK newsrooms identify as something other than white. Yeah, you read that right, 6%. And let's not forget about the downright racist coverage Meghan has had to endure. I mean, seriously, some of the stuff these tabloids come up with is just plain offensive. Like when Mail Online referred to Meghan as almost straight outta Compton, or when the Daily Star ran a headline questioning if Harry would marry into gangster royalty. It's enough to make your blood boil. In an interview on her Archetypes podcast with Mariah Carey, who's also biracial, Meghan opened up about how she never really experienced racial prejudice until she got tangled up with the British press. So, when we dig into the British disdain for Meghan and Harry, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. But one of the simplest explanations? Good old-fashioned jealousy. You didn't need to be a psychology whiz to see it. Here were Harry and Meghan, living what seemed like this perfect fairy tale life. Yet, as Meghan later revealed, behind the scenes, she was struggling with her mental health, even feeling suicidal at times. But to many Brits, it just looked like they were living the dream. Then you've got this whole idea of schadenfreude creeping in. It's a German word that basically means finding pleasure in someone else's misfortune. And boy, did it seem like some Brits were eating up any bit of bad news about the couple. From Meghan's podcast getting canceled to seeing her take a hit in the media, it's like they were cheering on her downfall. And let's not forget the drama between Harry and William, or the rift with the royal family. It's like Brits couldn't get enough of it. They were lapping up every juicy detail. To many folks across the pond, Meghan and Harry were seen as traitors. They turned their backs on their royal duties and skipped town for a cushy life in America. And man, did that sting for some Brits. It felt personal, like they were abandoning their homeland and their responsibilities. So yeah, jealousy, schadenfreude, feeling betrayed, put it all together, and you start to get a picture of why some Brits just can't seem to shake their animosity toward Meghan and Harry. Remember Meghan Markle's father's photo scandal just before her wedding in May 2018? It was quite a stir when he got caught staging photos with the paparazzi. Meghan was reportedly not happy about it at all, feeling disturbed and disappointed. Then, just 5 days before the wedding, her father announced he wouldn't attend, citing a heart attack. Instead, Prince Charles stepped in to walk Meghan down the aisle. Then there's Prince Andrew, who faced intense scrutiny in November 2019 due to his connections with Jeffrey Epstein, the late sex offender. Andrew decided to step back from his royal duties indefinitely, denying allegations from Virginia Roberts about their encounters. In 2019, rumors surfaced about Prince William's alleged affair with Rose Hanbury, a friend of Duchess Kate. Though it was a tough time for the couple, it seems it made them reflect on their relationship and ultimately made them stronger. Despite the rumors, sources insisted William and Kate were still deeply in love. Who could forget when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle announced they were stepping down from their senior royal roles in early 2020? It caused quite a stir, especially when it was revealed they hadn't consulted the Queen beforehand. Eventually, in 2021, they officially stepped away from their royal duties and settled in California with their son, Archie. And then there's Meghan's half-sister, Samantha Markle, who wrote a tell-all book in 2021, dishing out alleged family secrets and claiming Meghan had changed since becoming a royal. There's a lot to learn, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the writer told us exclusively more than 3 years after she announced her book plans. In the first installment, Samantha recalled her half-sibling's demanding attitude as a teenager and last conversation with the former actress, claiming that Meghan had changed once she stepped into the royal spotlight. In March 2021, the anticipation swirled as Harry and Meghan geared up for a revealing CBS interview. But prior to the broadcast, allegations emerged from the Times, suggesting mistreatment of royal staffers by the Duchess of Sussex before her departure in January 2020. The accusations even extended to claims of tears shed by her aides. Reacting to the report, a spokesperson for Meghan expressed her dismay, stating, "The Duchess is saddened by this latest attack on her character." During their riveting CBS interview in March 2021, Harry and Meghan delved into the challenging conversations preceding the birth of their son Archie in May 2019. Meghan recalled the perplexing decision to withhold a royal title and security privileges for Archie, stating they received no explanation for this deviation from protocol. She also disclosed disturbing conversations about concerns regarding Archie's skin tone. Prince Harry, joining the interview later, declined to disclose the identities of those involved in the alleged discussions. However, it later emerged that Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip were not present during these exchanges. In January 2022, Buckingham Palace announced significant changes regarding Prince Andrew's royal duties amidst his ongoing legal battle over allegations of sexual assault. Following a lawsuit filed against him, Prince Andrew's military affiliations and royal patronages were relinquished, with him continuing to pursue his legal defense as a private citizen. The controversy deepened in November 2022, when Lady Susan Hussey, a trusted member of Prince Charles's team and godmother to Prince William, resigned from her royal duties amid allegations of racism. The palace swiftly responded, expressing deep regret over the incident and stating that the individual involved had stepped aside from her role. Efforts were made to address the issue with inclusivity and diversity policies being reinforced within the household. In January 2023, Prince Harry released his eagerly anticipated memoir, Spare, providing candid insights into his life within the royal family. Willie was the heir, whereas I was the spare. This wasn't merely how the press referred to us, though it was definitely that. This was shorthand often used by Pa and Mummy and Grandpa, and even Granny, he wrote. I was summoned to provide backup, distraction, diversion, and, if necessary, a spare part. Kidney, perhaps. Blood transfusion. Speck of bone marrow. This was all made explicitly clear to me from the start of life's journey and regularly reinforced after. Elsewhere in the book, Harry claimed that William and Kate encouraged him to wear the controversial Nazi uniform in 2005 and howled with laughter about the costume. He also alleged that a 2019 physical fight with William, which began with William calling Meghan difficult and rude, left him with scrapes and bruises. The tell-all deepened the rift between the brothers. Royal author Omid Scobie wrote in his August 2023 book Endgame that William no longer even recognizes his brother and is convinced that Harry has been brainwashed by an army of therapists. In January 2024, Kensington Palace made a significant announcement regarding Kate's health, revealing that she had undergone a planned abdominal procedure. This news meant that she wouldn't be resuming her public duties until April. However, As time passed without further details about Kate's surgery, speculations began swirling online about the reasons behind her prolonged absence from public view. The rumors gained momentum when several news outlets received notifications in March 2024, instructing them to remove a Mother's Day portrait featuring Kate and her children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Screenshots of the kill notifications, which suggested the photo had been manipulated, were shared by several Associated Press journalists. Following this, Kate issued a public statement addressing the situation via a post shared on the official Prince and Princess of Wales account. Like many amateur photographers, I do occasionally experiment with editing. I wanted to express my apologies for any confusion the family photograph we shared yesterday caused, the statement read. Royal expert and public relations professional David Johnson commented on the matter, expressing concern that Kate addressing the controversy herself had only exacerbated confusion and sparked conspiracy theories. The thing that you do is say, this was a mistake, something that should not have happened. It was a junior person on our staff who released the photo. We know you're all waiting to see the Princess of Wales, and you will see her shortly, Johnson said. By trying to throw the blame on her, it's created even more of a story. It seems almost like complete chaos dysfunction, and that there's something waiting to drop, and no one knows what it is. He emphasized the need for transparency, suggesting that someone other than Kate should step forward to clarify the situation and provide details about her health status. Johnson warned that prolonging the ambiguity surrounding Kate's absence could lead to further speculation and rumors. But considering how Prince Harry is now being connected to Diddy, the comparisons with Prince Andrew's connection to Jeffrey Epstein are being brought up. Prince Andrew's association with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein provides vital background for Netflix's latest film, Scoop. Based on Sam McAllister's book Scoops Behind the Scenes of the BBC's Most Shocking Interviews, the film delves into Andrew's controversial 2019 BBC Newsnight interview, where he discussed his ties to Epstein. In the interview with Emily Maitlis, Prince Andrew recounted his interactions with Epstein, stating, "I suppose I saw him once or twice a year, but it would be a considerable stretch to say that he was a very, very close friend. But he had the most extraordinary ability to bring extraordinary people together." Andrew claimed he first met Epstein in 1999 through their mutual associate Ghislaine Maxwell. However, this contradicted earlier statements from Andrew's then private secretary, Alistair Watson, who mentioned Andrew's acquaintance with Epstein dating back to the early 1990s. Maxwell, introduced to Andrew during her time at Oxford University, is depicted in a photo discovered during her trial in 2021, purportedly taken at Balmoral in summer 1999. Flight logs confirm Andrew's visit to Epstein's private Caribbean island in February of that year. Their relationship continued into 2000, with Epstein accompanying Andrew to various events. In February, they were photographed together at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago club, and in April, Maxwell and Andrew were seen together at a lunch in New York City. Later that year, Epstein attended Andrew's 40th birthday party at Windsor Castle and joined him at the Royal Ascot in June. Despite controversies surrounding Epstein, Andrew maintained their connection, even hosting Epstein at a shooting weekend in December 2000, which he downplayed as a casual gathering during the Newsnight interview. In 2001, allegations emerged accusing Prince Andrew of sexually assaulting Virginia Giuffre in London. Despite the allegations, Prince Andrew has consistently denied any wrongdoing. When asked about a photograph, first published in 2011, showing him with his arm around Giuffre's waist, he stated, "That's me, but whether that's my hand or whether that's the position, I have simply no recollection of the photograph ever being taken." He also mentioned being at a Pizza Express in Woking that evening, suggesting he couldn't have been present where the photo was taken. Giuffre took legal action against Andrew in 2021, filing a lawsuit in New York. In a statement, she asserted, "I am holding Prince Andrew accountable for what he did to me." The lawsuit was settled in February 2022 for an undisclosed sum. In 2006, Jeffrey Epstein attended Princess Beatrice's 18th birthday party at Windsor Castle. The Sun later published a photo of Epstein at the party, alongside Harvey Weinstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Just 8 days after the celebration, Epstein was arrested in Palm Beach on charges of soliciting prostitution. During his Newsnight interview, Prince Andrew was questioned about inviting Epstein to his daughter's birthday, despite Epstein being under investigation for sexual assault of a minor. Andrew responded, "Because I was asking Ghislaine. But even so, at the time, I don't think Certainly, I wasn't aware when the invitation was issued what was going on in the United States, and I wasn't aware until the media picked up on it because he never said anything about it." In 2008, Epstein was sentenced to jail after reaching a non-prosecution agreement with federal prosecutors in Florida over allegations of sex with underage girls. He served 13 months in jail under a work release program, allowing him to leave during the day. Andrew claimed he ceased contact with Epstein in 2006 upon learning of the investigation, not reconnecting until 2010. In 2010, Prince Andrew's association with Jeffrey Epstein took another controversial turn when the Duke visited Epstein in New York City shortly after his release from house arrest in August. Their December meeting at Epstein's townhouse drew significant attention, with Andrew explaining his decision to visit in an interview with Emily Maitlis. "I went there with the sole purpose of saying to him that because he had been convicted, it was inappropriate for us to be seen together." Acknowledging the mixed advice he received, Andrew admitted, "At the time, I felt it was the honorable and right thing to do." However, Maitlis pointed out the contradiction of staying with a convicted sex offender, to which Andrew responded, "It was a convenient place to stay." Reports emerged that Epstein had hosted a party during Andrew's visit, although Andrew denied this, describing it as a small dinner gathering. However, photographs of Andrew and Epstein walking in Central Park surfaced, prompting scrutiny and further questions about their relationship. Photographer Jay Donnelly remarked on the significance of the photo, stating, "Without that photo, they would have the chance to deny any knowledge of knowing each other." In 2011, Sarah Ferguson, Andrew's ex-wife, revealed that Epstein had assisted in paying off her debts by providing funds to her former personal assistant. Expressing regret over her association with Epstein, Ferguson emphasized her abhorrence of pedophilia and pledged to repay the money, distancing herself from Epstein's actions. Ferguson's admission added another layer to the controversy surrounding Epstein's connections within the royal circle, highlighting the broader implications of his influence and financial dealings. Despite the turmoil, Ferguson remained steadfast in her support for Andrew, praising him as a first-rate father and first-rate man. In 2015, Prince Andrew found himself embroiled in the legal proceedings surrounding Jeffrey Epstein when he was named in a U.S. civil case against the disgraced financier. Although not directly involved in the lawsuit, Andrew's identification during court filings drew attention to his connection with Epstein. The palace responded to the developments with 2 statements, vehemently denying any allegations of impropriety. Emphasizing Andrew's non-involvement in the ongoing civil proceedings, the palace spokesperson asserted the claims were categorically untrue. Andrew himself echoed these sentiments, emphasizing his commitment to his duties and work. Fast forward to 2019, a pivotal year that brought Epstein's crimes and Andrew's association with him into the spotlight. In July 2019, Epstein was arrested on new sex trafficking charges, shedding light on the extent of his exploitation of underage girls. The subsequent investigation revealed a disturbing pattern of abuse spanning several years. Tragically, Epstein's life came to an end in August 2019 when he was found dead in his jail cell. This event, ruled as suicide, further fueled speculation and intensified scrutiny surrounding his network of associates, including Prince Andrew. In November 2019, Andrew sat down for a televised interview with BBC's Newsnight, addressing his relationship with Epstein. The interview, conducted amidst mounting public pressure, led to Andrew's decision to step back from his public duties. In a statement, he expressed regret over his association with Epstein, acknowledging the impact it had on the victims and their quest for closure. Despite the challenges and controversies, Andrew pledged his cooperation with law enforcement investigations, affirming his commitment to assisting in any way necessary. In a significant turn of events in 2022, Queen Elizabeth made the decision to strip Prince Andrew of his military affiliations and royal patronages. This decision came after a series of legal developments stemming from allegations made by Virginia Giuffre. Jeffrey filed a civil lawsuit against Andrew in the United States in August 2021. Despite efforts by Andrew's legal team to have the case dismissed, a judge ruled against them in January 2022, allowing the lawsuit to proceed. Shortly thereafter, Buckingham Palace announced the removal of Andrew's military titles and royal patronages, stating, "With the Queen's approval and agreement, the Duke of York's military affiliations and royal patronages have been returned to the Queen." It was clarified that Andrew would not undertake any public duties, emphasizing his defense of the case as a private citizen. The decision marked a significant shift in Andrew's role within the royal family. Subsequently, in February 2022, Andrew reached an out-of-court settlement with Jeffrey, though the details of the settlement were not publicly disclosed. A statement released at the time highlighted Andrew's regret over his association with Jeffrey Epstein, acknowledging the trafficking of young girls orchestrated by Epstein. Expressing remorse, Andrew pledged to support the fight against sex trafficking and stand in solidarity with survivors. That's all for the video, folks. Thanks for watching.